What's good, everybody? So today's video is about the New York Giants, and will the New York Giants have a quarterback dilemma? They have a quarterback problem. Um, I think so. I think we should have. I think the Giants should have found Eli Manning's predecessor way before. I mean, it doesn't really matter how long he sat. Um, because I think he would have been ready whenever Eli Manning had to step down. And we didn't. We rode with Eli till his legs fell off. Um, we didn't really need to let in the quarterback position because he was very durable his whole career. We had a few quarterbacks, obviously, but they never saw the field outside of, preseason, or if it was like a blowout, which the Giants rarely blow teams out. But usually preseason, you'll probably see them. But yeah, the Giants had a terrible season when Phil Simms retired. Obviously they had to give the keys to Jeff Hostetler, who won the Super Bowl for them, because Phil Simms wasn't able to compete in that Super Bowl. And then after that, I think Phil Simms retired in 1993 or 1992. So it was 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 2000. And then after that, we signed Collins. We signed Kerry Collins, and we surprisingly went to the Super Bowl, and just to get thrashed by a very good Ravens defense. And then after that, 2000, 2001, 2, 3, 4, obviously the Eli Manning and Philip Rivers trade. And then from there, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, took him another 5 years to, win his first championship, and then it took him another 4 more years to win his second Super Bowl champion, just like Phil Simms. And after that, the New York Giants tried to build around Eli. They did around 2017, where they paid very high for these defensive players who obviously panned out. We finished the season 11-5. Went to the playoffs just to get blasted by the Packers. And then after that, it just went downhill. We just spent like the next 10 years of just failure. And then obviously Eli retired. His mechanics was just not there anymore. And ever since, we've just been terrible. Obviously 2019, I believe, we drafted Daniel Jones, 6th pick. The dude had some promise, but obviously it just wasn't meant to be. He only had one playoff success, and other than that, never really reached anything. So here we are. So people say, yeah, the quarterback is the most important position. And I don't think so. I think the offensive line is the most important position, because if you don't have those 5 guys blocking you up front, I don't care who you got back there. You can have prime you can have prime Joe Montana back there. You can have prime Michael Vick back there. If you don't have any if you don't have those big beefy boys blocking you, or if one of them is out, it cancels everything. It's kind of like a domino. Like once you stack them all up and you just push them, they all fall down. Okay? So I still value offensive linemen over quarterback. But that's just me. I think quarterbacks are kind of like point guards. They just distributors. They just dish the ball out. They don't really do. They don't affect the game like you think they do. Outside of their running, obviously, but scoring touchdowns, rushing. It's the same crap as a point guard. There's no difference. But yeah, we don't want to be in that triangle where we picking top 5 every single year because we can't find the right quarterback. You know what I'm saying? If you look at the Jets, look at the Browns, you know what I'm saying? They still can't find their quarterbacks. Look at the Colts, ever since they drafted Peyton Manning, and after that, it was Andrew Luck, and now look at them, the Jets, the Browns, the Colts, you just, like, when you find a quarterback, like Cam Ward, I think Cam Ward have the same similarities as Lamar Jackson. If I were to compare him to anybody currently in the NFL, I would probably compare him to Lamar Jackson. But the Giants have to do their homework and just say F it now because they cannot go into next year's season with that same roster. Drew Lock, I don't think he's going to be back. Tommy DeVito, I don't think he's going to be back. I would say Tommy DeVito's still on the roster for some odd reason, but he'll get cut probably mid-August, like probably, preseason. He'll probably get cut. I don't know how many quarterbacks they're going to keep on the roster. Obviously we lucked out on, Matthew Stafford, and I had a feeling Matthew Stafford was not going to come here. Going to the Raiders, they offered him like 2 years, $90 million. But I guess he just wanted to stay with the team that he won the Super Bowl with, which I'm not mad at. Why would he come to New York, And then the Giants right now are in shambles. So I think the Giants just have to go all out, because now we're probably going to get desperate and probably pick up Aaron Rodgers, and I don't think he's going to convert back to his old self, when he won the Super Bowl or the MVP, whatever. I don't think we're going to get that Aaron Rodgers, but who knows? The Giants always had a knack for turning washed up players into stars, right? You look at Plaxico. Plaxico wasn't really a nobody in Pittsburgh. Come to New York, he's beloved, Antonio Pierce was doing nothing in Washington, comes over from the Giants. Comes over to the Giants. He was one of our best linebackers that we had. He retired because of a spinal neck injury. Neck infusion or whatever it's called. He had a bulging disc on his neck. That's why he had to retire. But and he was one of the candidates for the New York Giants job when we fired Joe Judge. But you know how the Giants are. They don't really like to bring in familiar faces in the organization. Um, but yeah, the New York Giants are gonna have to find a way, because Daniel Jones is not here no more. They're gonna have to at least trade, because to be honest, you don't know what these draft picks are gonna be look like in the next few years. It's not like it's basketball where it's unprotected and you know what I'm saying. Like some teams have to make the playoffs or like stuff like that. Um, or the Giants can suck for another season, probably get the number one overall pick, and draft Archie Manning, who's going to be in next year's draft if he is eligible, which he will probably be. And the Giants can say, you know what, we found our quarterback, because right now a lot of people saying this quarterback draft class isn't really all too good, I mean, they have some okay talent, but it's not, like it was not like last year's quarterback draft. But the Giants have a decision to make. Like I said, they can stink for another year, and because it doesn't really matter who we draft. Just this roster is in shambles. I will say the offensive line did perform a little bit better last year than previous year. I think when Joe Shane came in, he did a good job with the offensive line. A lot of people still bashing the offensive line like it's some finished product. Like no offensive line is perfect. You know what I'm saying? But just give time. That's basically all I can say is just give time. But yeah, with the third pick, there's really nothing you can't do. Abdul Carter, I believe that's his name. His draft stock is probably going to dip because of injuries. So, I mean, Travis Hunter can be the first overall pick. Who knows? But I do believe a quarterback will be taken in the first pick. Now the Giants can leverage all their picks. It's worth it. I mean, the Falcons did it with Julio Jones, and they paid out. They obviously went to the Super Bowl, even though they didn't win it. But it's hard going to the Super Bowl. Let alone winning. A playoff game. But it worked out for them. But when we did it with Landon Collins, it didn't really work out too much. Now did it? I still remember that trade. I don't know what we gave up for Landon Collins, but I thought he was going to be one of those, Sean Taylor type players, which I just laughed like, okay, even though he wore the number 21, and then after that he didn't really do too much over here, nothing. And then when he went to Washington, he was pleading like, oh, let me wear number 21, I'll wear it with honor. Like, no, that jersey should never be worn again by another player. Now, if he was here, God rest his soul, if he was still here, he would have probably, okay, But, like I said, I mean, because it's funny, because jersey retirements is supposed to be untouched, right? Like, that's like Archie Manning coming in and saying, oh, I want number 10. And then Eli Manning would probably have to say, you know what, make your number your own legacy. You know what I'm saying? Whether he wears number 18, like his brother Peyton, or whatever, you know. Or he could wear his dad's number. You know, pave your own way, you know, stuff like that. But to me, I think the Giants should have already had a backup plan at quarterback. I think we waited too late. You know, because when Ben Roethlisberger couldn't play anymore, you know, Pittsburgh already had a plan. You know, when the Ravens knew Joe Flacco was done, they already had a plan. The Giants never had a backup plan for Eli. So when Eli Manning couldn't play no more because of his, you know, when Eli Manning couldn't play anymore, they didn't really have a backup plan. You know, yeah, they had quarterbacks like Joe Webb and Ryan Nassib and Kyle Oleta, but those guys never saw the field. You know, I think the only quarterback that saw the field basically was, you know, McCoy and Tommy DeVito, obviously, and Geno Smith. I think those are the only three quarterbacks that actually saw the field. And obviously, but other than that, none of the other quarterbacks that I mentioned saw the field. Kyle Oleta didn't see the field. Joe Webb didn't see it. I think they did, but it was just not good. I forgot that other quarterback where we like sneaked it on third and 10. Like, what the heck are we doing? That was the most bizarre play I ever saw. Like, it was third and 10 out of their own end zone, like 10 yards out of their own end zone, and it was third and 10. And then their quarterback sneaked it, and then obviously they had to force the punt. It's crazy, man. But the Giants cannot go into next season because if you look at their schedule, it does not favor them whatsoever. And the Giants are always going to have a hard schedule because they're the New York Giants. Bigger market, you know, big franchise, you know. That's always going to be a gimme, you know. I think the last time the Giants had an easy schedule was 2009 when they went 5-0. I mean, if you look at all the teams that they beat, all of them had losing records. And then they ran into the Saints, and then they lost, 6 straight. And then they had to beat Atlanta in overtime, and then they lost the next following day to Denver at Christmas, and then they lost again against Chargers and Arizona. And then they finished the season 8-8, starting 5-0. But yeah, man, the Giants have to figure out a way because they don't like their job is on the line. You know, Joe Shane and Brian Davis' job is on the line, so they're gonna have to go all out. You know, at least draft a quarterback so, you know, whoever the next GM or head coach is, they can say, okay, this guy has it, we just gotta build around him. You know what I'm saying? We got Hyatt, we got Wandell, we got Malik Neighbors. You know, we just need a decent running game and a few good solid tight ends, and then that's it. And then improve on the defense. You know, hopefully Brian Burns can have a bounce back year. But But who do I think the Giants will do? Who do I think the Giants will pick with the third pick? I think they're going to trade it. I think they're going to trade it. To who? I don't know. Probably with the Browns. Maybe with the Browns. I don't think they're going to be sitting at number one. But I do believe they're going to move up one slot and pick the quarterback. Because, again, you do not want to go into next season facing who they have to face. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to look well, you know. So, yeah, I think the Giants are going to select Cam Ward, and that'll be it. So, with the second overall pick, the New York Giants select Cam Ward, quarterback out of Miami.